So when it comes to the mainstream comic book industry, things are in dire disarray. When I talk about dire disarray, too, I'm talking about distribution is shut down. We're talking about loan forgiveness because people are not getting paid. And the things that I'm hearing verified behind the scenes, this stuff, it is going to get a lot worse. So hey there. So today we return to that wonderful world of comic books, and we're doing this impromptu style. What that means is we're not going to have a lot of editing here. I apologize for that in advance, but this is something that I want to hit on, and every now and then we return to this style. So as Bleeding Cool is reporting in front of you, Diamond, it won't be able to pay its comic publishers this week. Now, if you don't know anything about the comic book industry, Diamond is the only distributor of comic books, meaning they are the conduit between publishers, the people who make the comics like Marvel, DC, IDW, Image, Dark Horse, and the comic book shops. They ferry those things out to wherever they go. Now, we already have a lack of those. I mean, we're talking about under 2,000 places to deliver comics to as is. And now we're finding out that as Diamond has shut down, the money woes, they have already begun compiling. So Diamond, they're not able to pay their comic book publishers this week. Now, Bleeding Cool, they had already reported that Marvel Comics had agreed to extend terms to Diamond comic distributors. This meant that Marvel didn't demand payment from Diamond as usual, as Diamond closed its doors to new products because of, well, you know what's going on. So you already have Marvel saying, hey, we're going to have to lay off Diamond, and really in this, they have to lay off Diamond, because what is the choice in it? What are they going to do? Demand that they pay or else? What's the or else? They have no way to distribute their goods anymore. I mean, that's the problem with putting all of your eggs in one proverbial basket, and that's what Marvel ended up doing way back when, and they caused that too. So Diamond, it continues, also allowed comic book stores to put their own accounts with Diamond on hold as well. They also mentioned, as they say, Diamond has made redundancies at the companies as well. What that means is they're firing people, and they're firing people at the highest levels of this company. So you're not talking about lower entry-level positions. We're talking about upper echelon jobs being made redundant. They're saying, hey, we have somebody that can do that job right now. We're not actually doing anything. So, of course, you're out of here. Now, if you have problems like this, it tells you that these companies are working paycheck to paycheck. And isn't that interesting, considering the size of the comic book industry? I mean, we're talking about an industry that is made billions, and yet when you look at it, it's like it survives hand to mouth. So Stan Heidman, the president of Diamond Owners, the JEPI, however that's pronounced, Family Enterprises, has now issued the following message to comic book publishers who distribute through Diamond, and it's not good news. He writes that Diamond comic distributors will not be able to pay comic publishers, other suppliers, this week as planned. Quote, "Dear Diamond vendors, as the world responds to, the issue going on, our focus is protecting employees, understanding the risks to our business, evaluating the risks to our industry, and examining the federal government resources available. While the full impact of this is still unknown, one thing is certain: supply chain disruptions have cash flow implications across the extended industry that can't be underestimated. Now, while we are working to understand the current industry landscape, the unfortunate truth is that we are no longer receiving consistent payment from our customers. This requires, at this time, we hold payments to vendors previously scheduled to release this week. This is a difficult decision and not one we make lightly. As this situation continues to evolve, we are committed to building out a plan for payment, and we will have more information to share later this week. Thank you for your patience and understanding during this difficult time." Now, when you think about that, like I say, when you look at what they're saying, this has huge huge impacts on the comic book industry. And again, like they said, it can't be understated. You're talking about companies that will not get paid because Diamond, they're not receiving regular payments from the comic book shops out there. So, of course, the places that have gone out, that have produced comics, they're not going to get paid. The Marvels, the DCs, the IDWs, those consumers are not getting paid. Therefore, the pros that are behind these works, how long can they continue to work like this as well? It's something that I've been saying for a while about the idea of professionalism and the idea of bringing in consumers with it comes to your products, because if you do not bring in people that are attached to you as a professional, then when there's a problem out there, some place decides to get rid of you unceremoniously, or when something like this transpires, something that basically shuts everything down, you know what happens? You have no way to get paid. And those consumers out there, they're not obligated to back you in any way. See, that's one of the lessons that people like Ron Martz, for example, a guy who said, those consumers, or those fans is what he calls you, fans, the derogatory term they love to throw around, they're not the ones I'm answerable to. And you know what? They're right in a way. They're right that they're not hired by the quote-unquote fans, but when the chips are down and they actually need money, who do they come running to? They come running to you. They tell you that you should spend $3 on digital, that you should back their Kickstarter wares, and people don't. They absolutely do not. They have other things that are more important, first of all. But when they look at this industry, it's not something that they feel that they want to hold up. People like myself that would spend hundreds of dollars a week, we were told to go away. And now we're being told that we should come back and back things. And that's just not how it works. That's why people like Ron Martz, they end up putting up a Kickstarter for 30 days. They blame the outcome on what you see here. But the reality is that a person like that, they're so disliked in that industry. They're so disliked by consumers these days that they can't make $7,500 on something. Isn't that crazy? Now, they finished out by saying maybe it's worth making a call to Penguin Random House after all. Some publishers will be able to weather such a payment delay, but others will not, especially with all sorts of other changes to their cash flows. These times are hard for everyone too, which is true, and I don't want to make light of that either. When I look at this industry basically, it didn't have this problem and then shut down. This industry has been on the decline for years now. 2017, it dropped off by 10% in dollars, 10% in demand. 2018, it dropped off by another 6% in demand, and it dropped off by dollars as well. 2019, they raised the prices high enough that they saw profit, but demand still dropped off by another 3%. And this year, before all of this transpired, you saw demand drop off by another 3% while they were bragging about making money because they have comic books that come out at $10, at $7, at $5 and on, with the baseline for comics being $3.99, which means, you don't drop below that number. That says something about an industry. And what it says about that industry is it's not healthy. It's not working. And after a while, it's not going to be something that you see in the future. It's going to be something that drops off, and this thing, it may well end it. Now, some of the stuff that I've been hearing about Diamond too, and about other companies, it sounds like they are in dire disarray, that they are having so many problems behind the scenes, and they cannot find the money to go out and again even pay what they need to pay to keep running. They're not going to have money to pay the people that are working there. They're not going to have money to pay for future projects. Diamond, I don't know how they get things back online, because right now, all of this stuff is a crushing rate. And again, it goes hand to mouth. It basically is an industry that should have money on backup. You should have places like Marvel and on that have that money in reserve. But When you're talking about the smaller companies, yeah, they'll never, ever be able to make it. I mean, these pros, like I said, they are still talking trash too, as I've showcased in other videos, and that is unfortunate and it's insane. But anyway, you tell me what you think about all of this craziness. To end too, I want to say thank you for showing up, thank you for participating, and thank you for indulging this way that this is set up. I wanted to talk about this. I don't have a lot of time for editing, but this is an important issue. Now, I also want to say that during these times, if you have a lot of need, if you find yourself, you and your family can't get something that you need, hit people like myself up, other people out there. We'll try to help. I can't say that I can help with everything, but I've tried helping with necessities like bread, canned goods, toilet paper, things that I can help out with, because you know what? I appreciate all of you. But anyway, I want to say thank you again, and we'll see you the next time. Thanks.